Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. Number one.
Minutes of the City Council meeting, October 7th, 2019.
Councilor Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion of the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Number two.
Now is the time set for the public hearing on the proposed amendment to Chapter 526 signs relative to electronic signage, including specific regulations for multi-product LED price bump toppers and video graphics arrays, color screen signs at gasoline stations, order number 19-100, 7791.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages. First, public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And fourth, questions from the council. First is public speaking in favor. Please come forward.
Mr. President, thank you. We had started seeing a spate of requests to the planning board for variances to allow gas stations to use the new video boards on their gas stations. And I had talked to the planning board and promised them that I would fix it down here because it's really not their fault up there. And so they're trying to deal with it, but they didn't have the tools. So what we did is, because this is an ordinance, we don't really have to have a public hearing, but I thought we'd just let the public know. But the committee's already met on this. The planning board has already said they agree with what we're going to do. And essentially what we're saying is, okay, here's the deal. You want to have this extra advertising on your pumps. You can go ahead and do that within limits. I think we said 12-inch screens. But we don't want all the noise, all the audio besieging the residents or patrons who don't really want to see the commercials or hear them. So we thought that was a good trade-off. Plus, a lot of these gas stations are turning into more convenience stores than anything, and we felt it was unfair to the convenience stores that the gas stations were getting more advertising than they were able to do. So we gave we give in this ordinance a choice. You can either have these video screens there, pretty much doing whatever you want on there other than sound, but you can only use about 10% of your window space on your gas station for signage. So we're not cluttering up, we're not giving one an advantage over the other, and that's pretty much what we decided. So this allows for those little pump top gas prices, which have been proliferating without any authority to do so, and it also allows for these little video monitors on the gas station pumps, and this will be allowed by right within the regulations we set. They don't have to come to us, they don't have to go to the planning board. We're trying to make it easy, we're trying to do compromises, and this is what we came up with. I will be asking if it's the committee's pleasure, or if it's the council's pleasure, since the committee already voted on this, we can vote on this evening, Mr. President. It only takes 6 votes to do it. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? See none? Declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Seeing none, I declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council? Questions from the council? Councilor Tonera.
Thank you. There was a vote, and there was a 4-to-1 vote. I was the only no vote. So I'm going to indulge my fellow councilors. I was okay with the screens talking. It was a low volume. I didn't think it was such a big deal. So if anyone else will support that, I'll be with you. But if not, I'll let it go. Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed, the entire public hearing, and it was in urban affairs.
Correct. Mr. President, I move to approve the ordinance change.
Okay. Okay, this is an ordinance change, so this has to go through the 4 stages. First, all those in favor of suspending the first reading and adopting the second reading. All in favor? Opposed? That is approved. Passage to be enrolled. All in favor? Those opposed? That is approved. Passage to be ordained. All in favor? Opposed? That is approved. Is there any objection to passage in one evening? Any objection to passing one evening? Seeing none, the ordinance is approved and is approved. Number 3.
Now is the time set for the public hearing on the application for an LED sign special permit from Dan Corbin on behalf of Blue Hills Fuels LLC at 114 East Main Street, order number 19-100 7779.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages: public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and questions from the council. First, public speaking in favor. Please come forward. Please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Sunit Sharma, representing Blue Hills Fuels, LLC, and the gas station located at 114 East Main Street, as is shown here. What we're looking to do is reface, as Gulf has come out with a new national image. The LED price sign is currently existing there.
Sir, please talk into the microphone.
Sorry. So the LED price
Pick it up
sign...
and put it in your, hold it in your.
Okay. So the LED price sign is already existing there. We're looking to reface it, going from 3 products to 2 products, and then reface the rest of the ID sign, not changing any square footage, keeping the existing structure as is.
Okay. That's it? Okay. Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? All, seeing none, declare that public hearing closed. Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition. Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council? Questions from the council? Questions from the council? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed, the entire hearing, and it will be in Urban Affairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 4.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the application for a special permit from Attorney Brian Falk on behalf of One Energy, Inc. to authorize the alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming gas station use to a gas station, convenience store, and restaurant cafe use at 121 Bolton Street, order number 19-100, 7780.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages. First, public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And fourth, questions from the council. First, public speaking in favor. Okay, Arthur.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Arthur Bergeron. We are I and Brian Falk here from Myrick O'Connell, the attorneys for One Energy, Inc. With me are Mark Darbakeley, who is the money, who is the owner of One Energy, Inc. Diane Nelligan is with him. She's the project manager, and our engineer, Paul Sylvia. And you all know my friend Brian Falk, who actually manages everything, it seems. I am just checking to see if this is working. This is going to be another one of these very, very brief slideshows, and I'm here really
Not
just...
a PowerPoint. It's not a PowerPoint.
Oh, it's not a slideshow anymore? It's called a PowerPoint?
Well, you can move.
No, I've actually got a button. I
goes.
can do it. I can do it now. As once again, as brief background, Mr. Darbakeley came to me. One Energy owns the existing gas station on Maple Street. And he came to me looking at this site saying that he was interested in doing it. He was talking to Mr. Brown, the current owner of the site, and I told him, I said, so there's absolutely no chance that this is going anywhere unless the neighbors are in favor. I remember going to a meeting on this 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, right? And just no way. So what we did was we went to the Buckley's house. The Buckleys invited over some of the neighbors, and we talked about this project, and we said, you know, here are the possibilities. What do you think? And basically, as we told them, we're telling them, as we told you, the issue is we are requesting a special permit in order to change a prior non-conforming use, and this is really prior. This is a gas station that's been there since around World War II, by converting it into a station that also has a food element to it. And we said, this is what we're doing. There were they said, in general, they were very excited about this, but said there were some concerns. They wanted to make sure that the hours were limited. And I know that this was something that Councilor Clancy, the ward councilor, had talked to me about very early on. And we're fine with that. And Mr. Darbakley can go through any of that. So here's the slideshow. That's what we're proposing. On that site, I know everybody here is very familiar with this site because that's what it looks like, and we've been going by it for a long, long time, looking like that. And once again, that's what we're proposing. So it's very straightforward. I'm going to ask Mr. Darbakley to talk about what he's planning to do with the site. I'm going to ask Paul Sylvia to just talk about any of the engineering issues that he thinks are really salient. We'll try to keep this short. We know you've got a very busy agenda. Mr. Darbakley, who was very upset because he didn't know I was going to make him speak, so he didn't dress for this. So.
I don't do really well in these settings, so good evening, and thank you everybody for being here. So I've been part of this community for actually 30 years now. I came to Marlborough in September of '89. Landis is shaking his head because, and we feel they're part of this community, and we like to continue to contribute to it. I'm a strong advocate of the Boys and Girls Club, and and so what we'd like to do here is take this.
Please hold it. You can pull that out of the cradle there and hold it in your hand.
So what we'd like to do here is modernize the station. We have worked with Mr. Brown to accelerate the cleanup of this site. This site, as everybody is aware of, was a nightmare for this town. It was highly contaminated, and we helped him. He worked on it for years, but when we got involved in this project, we helped him accelerate the cleanup of it. And right now, it's pretty much, the cleanup is complete in this site. So what we'd like to do is take the bays, the existing bays, and add a convenience store, and take the existing 4 pumps. There's actually 5 pumps, and we're gonna maintain the same number of pumps at the site, except turn the orientation of the pumps, and add significant amount of landscaping, and make it a family-friendly location and an inviting location, to have everybody, have it a center of attraction instead of the eyesore that it is right now. So we're just seeking your help and your support in order to do so.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Darbakley. And I want to introduce Paul Sylvia to talk about the engineering on this site, and then I just have a couple of other comments, and then I think we're done. We'll take all questions. My colleague Brian Falk has worked very hard on any of the details that I'm sure that you'd like to see dealt with. Mr. Sylvia?
Good evening. My name is Paul Sylvia. I'm with AUB Engineering. We're in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I was told I have roughly a minute, so I'm just going to try to hit some of the salient features of this particular site. You can see by the way the site is landscaped, it's certainly going to be a vast improvement over what's there now. There's a lot of greenery, and also very important, there is less impervious area, which means there's less paving. Now, what that translates into is less runoff from the site. One of the things that we'll have on this site is a drainage system that captures all the runoff. Presently, what's happening is,
Closer to the mic.
yeah, what's happening presently is the runoff from the site runs into the road, it goes into your drainage system, which can overtax it. I'm sure there's probably been flooding problems over in the past there. With the new drainage system, all the water is going to be pre-treated and then reintroduced back into the ground to recharge the water table in the community. So that's going to take a major burden off of the drainage system that presently exists. Our system has been designed for up to a 100-year storm, which is typical state drainage requirement. The other thing I want to emphasize is, as you can see here, these are the brand new underground fuel storage tanks. Those are double wall fiberglass, state of the art. Their typical lifespan is 25 to 30 years. So that the way they're constructed, plus the fact of the way they are monitored, is going to preclude the possibility of leakage that I guess was previously experienced at the site. The other thing also to emphasize is there's no drive-through. We do a lot of these every year throughout the Northeast, and typically when there's a drive-through, there always seems to be problems because of the fact of cars stacking and people backing up in the road. That's not going to be the way it is here at this site. So basically, the hook is coming, so my minute's up.
Let me just close by kind of, once again, emphasizing we're proposing this change through that section of the zoning ordinance that you've all now become very aware of, the section that allows city council by special permit to allow a change or expansion of from one non-conforming use to another. This land is zoned residential. There is zero chance that this lot will ever be developed as a residential site, having been a previous gas station. So unless something like this happens there, and this, we know that this spot has worked as a gas station before, unless something like this happens there, this site will be pretty much the way it looks like, for as long as I live. Now I'm getting to be an old guy, so that's not that long, but it's going to be sitting there for a long time unless you do something like this. And I think that the neighbors are aware of this, which I think is the reason why, I've spoken to some of them. I know that the Buckleys at least have felt very strongly that this seemed like a sensible way to go. Brian Falk will be, focusing on managing any questions. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's the presentation.
Okay, is there anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Please come forward.
I'm Michael Buckley, 104 State Street, directly abut the gas station. My wife Karen is also going to talk, and sorry for being redundant, but we both have things to say about it. You all know the past history of this station, and I never thought that I would support another gas station to replace it. However, the people from Energy One sought out the advice and recommendations from the neighborhood before even applying for a permit to the city.
Hold on a second. Is the microphone? We got to. Is that on? Just tap on it, Mike.
It's on.
It's on. Just pull it out and hold it up to you, close to your mouth.
Hello? Better? Okay. We asked for privacy fencing, moving the State Street access to the station access further towards Bolton Street, no 24-hour operation, and no drive-through service, which they agreed to without any reservations. $1.5 million of tax money was spent to clean up the property, and it's still not clean. One Energy has agreed to finish the cleanup at their expense. This once again lets the perpetrator of the disaster off the hook, which doesn't sit well with me, but it also alleviates the possibility of the cleanup falling on the taxpayers of Marlborough when the property is seized for blight and tax delinquency, like the former Fry Boot factory. We urge you to expedite passage of the permit to remove this scourge in our neighborhood and our city. The day the old station is razed will be a day of closure for us and a fresh start for the city. Thank you.
Anyone else speaking in favor? Is there any others that want to speak in favor? Come on up and just wait. You have to pick it up.
Good evening. My name is Karen Buckley. I also live at
You have to
104
get
State
real
Street.
close.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm here this evening to ask the council to approve this special permit for 121 Bolton Street in Marlborough. I know the members of the council are well aware of the devastation that is caused by the massive gasoline spill in April of 2012 to us, our neighbors, and also to the city of Marlborough as a whole. We now need to move forward. You, the council, have an opportunity to approve the permit and have Marlborough move forward with a state-of-the-art gas station with the added benefit of having the contamination blight of the city's landscape cleaned up without use of taxpayers' dollars. You have a reputable buyer who is willing to buy the massive eyesore on Bolton Street and a company that has sought out the abutters and asked us what we wanted. We want Marlborough to move forward. We have, and you have, this site and this plan in front of you, and we ask you to please please pass this. I also want to add that the Gollins, Mr. and Mrs. Golland, who live on Chandler Street, who are both in their 90s, have called me today to please let you know that they were affected by this spill. Their house was also contaminated. They also would like this to pass. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Hi, my name is Patrice Williams. I live at 98 State Street next to the Buckleys. I'd like to kind of reiterate everything that they have said. And on top of that, I also would like to speak for Energy One. I personally know Mark Bakerly. I've known him since about 1995. I worked for him at his other gas station. Mark is on top of everything when it comes to his property. He keeps a clean property. He has the utmost, when anything happens at his station, he's on top of it. He has a spill, he calls. He has anything that happens, he reports everything. Unlike the other owner of the gas station who didn't report so many other spills, Mark is the type of person that acts like he lives in our neighborhood, and he treats us like he's one of us, not someone that just has a property that they make money off of. He truly cares about the neighbors. He's a wonderful person, and he's a great businessman with a solid background. He has a number of other stations, and we've never had a problem with any of his other stations. Thank you.
Something else?
Excuse me, Mr. President. I carry a letter here from the Butker family, which owns Bolton Street Liquors right across the street from the station. They couldn't be here tonight, but they sent a letter to be put into the record that they do support the news station.
Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the public? Questions from the public, please come forward. If you're going to ask a question, please come forward and just wait your turn.
My name is Bruce Hanahan. I live at 97 State Street, across from this location. What I'd like to know is, have there been any plans to deal with the traffic, increase of traffic that's bound to happen on State Street? We already have a terrible problem on State Street with excessive traffic. We have people blasting down that street doing 50 miles an hour. It's used as a cut-through because of the traffic light at Bolton Street, and Union Street is terrible. So everybody wants to avoid having to hit that traffic light. They always come down and they cut through State Street. I've been in State Street since 2006, and especially during rush hour in the afternoon. Friday afternoons are horrible. You know, we have people zooming down there all the time. So I'd like to know if anything's being done. I've asked if speed bumps could be put in the road. I've asked if we could get extra patrols for different times, and nothing's ever happened. The only thing that's ever happened is one of those signs that flashes, yes, you're doing 50 miles an hour, but nothing ever seems to get done about it. So I'm interested. I don't really have any problems with the station as it is. Know the Buckleys and Patrice, and I don't really have an issue, but the traffic is a problem for me. So.
Okay, Brian, there was a question about traffic.
Yes.
You'll try to answer that.
Thank you.
So we feel as though the improvements to the site in terms of the curb cuts and the realignment of the pumps will improve the traffic flow in and out of that site. And the impact we don't feel will be a substantial burden on the existing traffic issues on that street. Beyond that, in terms of improvements or changes to Bolton Street, that's not something that we've taken into consideration with this project. But we feel as though the site improvements will not worsen that situation and should make flow in and out of that site better.
Sorry, just so I can clarify, so Bolton Street's Bolton Street, and it's what it is a busy road, but State Street shouldn't be a busy road, and that's really where my concern is on State Street.
You might want to pull it.
Hi, I'm Martha Nowakowski. I'm over at 30 Fowler Street. And my concern, again, was the traffic at that intersection, because I traverse through that, and it's very difficult. Secondly, I want to know about your signage. The existing signage that was there was pretty high, pretty bright, signed right through the streets, right into my bedroom. So I was curious about what your hours are. Also curious about your annex that you're going to have there for food. You mentioned a restaurant, or can you expand?
Sure, so it's going to be a convenience store with food service. I know the application says restaurant, something the building commissioner wanted us to include, but it's not intended to be a traditional restaurant. It's a convenience store that will have food, prepackaged and prepared foods.
And what are your hours?
The hours are going to be 5 to 10, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition. Public speaking in opposition. Public speaking in opposition. Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council? Questions from the council? Okay, I'm going to start with Council Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening. One question, too, having the convenience store mixed with the gas station, it would be helpful, once it gets to urban, to clearly mark the pavement as well with signage for, when you're in the queue for people fueling up, that may offset some of the traffic on Bolton Street. And the other thing, I don't know if it's a high criteria, but would the applicant think about omitting the diesel fuel? In regards to that might free up some of the queue for traffic. That was the premise of that request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Council Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. A question, there seem to be 4 pumps, which to me would mean 8 cars can fill up. I thought that Mr. Bergeron said 5 pumps, so is there a 5th one that I can't see on the plan?
It's 4.
Okay, 4. Will one of them be?
One of them is going to have 2. Oh, that's right.
Sorry, Mr. Diabetically corrected me. One of the islands is going to have 2 pumps, so it would be 5 total so 10 cars.
No, it'll be 8 cars.
8 cars total, yes. I apologize.
So what's showing is what it will look like.
Correct.
4 pumps with ability to pump on either side of the
Correct.
the stand. Okay. Then the other question that I'm not able to find because I can't read the fine print, but I believe the ordinance says we can approve something so long as what we're approving is not more than 25% more than what currently exists. So I'm guessing you're not over 25. I don't know what the size of current is because I can't see that. Just make sure that you're not going, and I don't know if you can answer it or if it would be the building commissioner, but it says floor and ground area. So I don't know what that ground area means. Just be prepared to make sure you meet the standard.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm sure that the neighbors are. I drive this street on a pretty regular basis because I live not far from it, and to get it cleaned up will be a great idea. I don't know what to do about State Street. My street's a cut through. I go to the Traffic Commission. There are many streets in Marlborough that are cut throughs because nobody wants to wait where the roads are busy. So unfortunately, for people that live on State Street, if that's an issue, I don't know that this gas station has anything to do with it. It's a street that GPS has found that says, oh, go this way and avoid traffic. So, thank you.
Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple questions. The first question would be related to the site cleanup. I heard it's cleaned up, then I heard it's still being cleaned up. What's the status of that?
So in order to meet the state DEP requirements, after the site is cleaned up, there will be 3 test periods to confirm that site is totally clean. So we are in that process right now. The state requires 3 additional sampling of the groundwater to confirm that there is no residue, there's nothing left.
Okay, thank you. And
Brian? you
Yes.
have Something to add?
On the cleanup, for some reason, if it's not found clean, there's still, the state would allow activity use limitations. It's called AUL sites, you've
Yep.
heard of them, I'm sure. I hate to see the site prevented because of it not being clean. I'd rather see it go in and have the cleanup continue. So one, the neighbors can be assured of a appropriate cleanup, and two, the eyesore can be worked on while they're cleaning it up. So I would suggest you entertain that if you're not at that final step with DEP. And the only other question I have was related to, well, I had questions related to sign. I'd like to see what the sign's gonna look like, the illumination. The dumpsters are located towards one side. In Urban Affairs, Mr. Chair, if you could, through the president, is to address delivery times, garbage pickup times, trash pickup times, only to make sure, you know, if you're open at 5, delivery trucks and trash trucks can be quite loud, as well as oil delivery, gas delivery. So I would ask that that be entertained as a question in Urban Affairs so that the abutters can have some peace and quiet up to a certain time in the morning and at night. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Any other questions from the council? Councilor Dwyer?
Thank you, Mr. President. What's your time frame on this, if this gets approved? Like, when will the old building be demolished and your construction?
As soon as possible, once we go through the state process, it'll be as soon as possible.
So can we expect that to be gone by year's end, or?
This year's end?
Yes.
That's, the plan is to get the new tanks in as soon as possible, so.
And the old tanks are gone, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Council Ossing?
Thank you, Mr. President. So to address Mr. Hanahan's concern, I'll mention to the Traffic Commission, so the applicant's right, this is not impacting State Street, but Bruce, wherever you are, I'll make a mention it to the Traffic Commission to see if they can do anything additional monitoring on the street for speed checks on the street. But as far as what Mike and Karen Buckley said, I don't think I could say it any better. It's cleaning up the site, all right, and here's Mike's selfish part, tax revenue for the city now because we're not getting anything, and it's gonna be a lot cleaner and the residents support it. So I'm hoping through the chairman of Urban Affairs it goes through quickly so that Councilor Joare can see the building torn down this year. Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Councilor Delano? Councilor Delano?
Thank you, Mr. President. So we will take this up vigorously in Urban Affairs and try and move it through. Personally, I think it's a bit of hubris to say that there's the possibility of any leak is precluded. Nothing is ever a guarantee. So I want to see if there'll be some financial guarantees should the unexpected and unanticipated happen. I want to find out if they're going to be, or can you answer if they're selling tobacco products there? Because you are near the school, I worry about that with fake IDs being somewhat rampant.
We have not planned that far ahead in terms of the programming at the Zoom Mart, but we're, happy to hear questions and comments on those points.
We'll talk about that in committee, and I thank the neighbors for coming up. If the neighbors did not come here and support it, as Attorney Bergeron spoke about, we wouldn't be having this discussion. If Mr. Brown came here and requested something, it'd be a cold day in hell before we gave him anything. I hope that the neighbors are getting some good compensation for this. They deserve it. What they went through was a disgrace. So we will take this up. We'll do a good job and move it along quickly, Mr. President. Thank you.
Councilor Tenera?
Just along those lines, is there an update that you have, like how are the neighbors doing, all the abutters? I guess I could ask them while they were up, but are their homes safe now, or have they gone through that whole process? And if they find more contamination, who's gonna take care of that?
I believe that the abutters sites have all been cleaned and their test wells have been sealed. So no further action as defined by the state is required at this time. And once we install new tanks and the state certifies those, then we will have, again, we're re-enrolled in the state fund to be reimbursed for any future, if there's any spills in the future. But I would like to just talk for 1 second there. You know, those tanks will have, it's a double wall tank, and there will be an additional liner on the outside of the tanks. So if there's redundant monitoring, there's monitoring of the level of the product and continuous testing of the tanks. And this is not really exclusive to this site, but this is all gas stations. It's continuously monitored, and every night the tanks get tested. In addition to that, there's interstitial sensors. So if the primary wall fails, then and the product goes in the secondary wall, then alarms go off to warn us that there is product in the secondary walls. So there's tons of, and all the piping is double wall enclosed in the tertiary wall, and there's sensors at the underneath the dispensers and on top of the tanks. So if there is any liquid in any part of the system, then you get alarms, and and if the piping leaks, there's pressure sensors that automatically shut the dispensers down. So there's tons of safety features in modern gas station.
Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed, the entire public hearing, and it will be in Urban Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Set? Number 5.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $150,000 from undesignated funds to capital outlay DPW projects to fund mitigation payment pursuant to the special permit for the project at 421 Bolton Street.
Mr. President.
So Austin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to finance. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 6.
A communication from the mayor regarding gift acceptance in the amount of $300 from Eye Physicians of Marlborough and Worcester for the police department to fund community outreach initiatives.
Mr. President.
Mr. Austin.
Thank you, sir. Motion to approve the generous gift of $300 and thank Eye Physicians for the gift. So motion to approve.
Motion to approve is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Is any discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 7.
Communication from the mayor regarding the OPEB trust update.
Council Austin.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. So, councilors, again, this goes into the not sexy or exciting category, but we are funding something that our forefathers did not fund. So I want to congratulate you on having the foresight to set up the financial policy that we have now. So today we've got $10.8 million in our OPEB account. That's other post-employment benefits. It's up. Our rate of return is 3.49%. Not as much as we'd like. It's better than last year's a little over 2%. However, we've designed the system to not lose our money that we put in. So as long as we're seeing steady, stable gains, we're happy with that. So we've made about $1.2 million since its inception, and I'll remind you that you will see a request coming down from the mayor based on the financial policy that you all agreed to, that 10% of our free cash, which was certified at what? $13.3 million. So $1.3 million will be going into the OPEB trust fund, along with what we did different this year. We upped the annual budget from $100,000 to $250,000. So we'll put almost $1.5 million to the OPEB trust this year. So that's very good news, and there's no action to be taken. It's just information. So motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Council Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know in most cases we just approve the minutes, but the OPEB minutes did note that, and I hope we still consider this and be very aggressive with it, because just as of last year, July 1st, we had $117 million, 0.85 liability, and it went up to $129,391. So I thank the OPEB committee, as well as we have to still stay very aggressive with this through the following years. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 8.
Communication from the mayor regarding the resignation of Richard Collins from the Council on Aging Board.
Councilor Tenera.
Accept and place on file.
Motion is made and second to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? That is approved. Number 9.
Communication from City Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding the application for special permit for Cameron General Contractors to construct a senior independent living multifamily community pursuant to the provisions of the Retirement Community Multifamily Overlay District at 90 Crowley Drive in proper legal form, order number 19-100-7703C.
Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize.
Move to 26.
Yes, thank you. Make a motion to move item 9 down to item 26.
A motion is made and seconded to move item 9 down to be taken up with item number 26 on tonight's agenda. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It's approved. 10.
Communication from City Clerk Stephen Carrigan regarding the municipal election call.
Councilor Assing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, I would ask the clerk to read the election call.
City Clerk being is hereby authorized and directed to warn and notify the voters of the City of Marlborough, duly qualified to vote in the municipal election, to assemble in their respective polling place as designated by the City Council as follows. Ward 1, Precinct 1 and 2, the Francis J. Kane School at 520 Farm Road. Ward 2, Precinct 1 and 2, Francis J. Kane School, 520 Farm Road. Ward 3, Precinct 1, the Senior Center at 40 New Street. Ward 3, Precinct 2, the Raymond J. Richer School at 80 Foley Road. Ward 4, Precinct 1 and 2, the Senior Center at 40 New Street. Ward 5, Precinct 1 and 2, the Senior Center at 40 New Street. Ward 6, Precinct 1 and 2, the First Lieutenant Charles W. Whitcomb School at 25 Union Street. Ward 7, Precinct 1 and 2, the Hildreth School at 85 Sawin Street. On Tuesday, November 5th, 2019, then and there for the purpose of casting their votes for the candidates for the following offices: Mayor, Councilors at Large, Ward Councilors, School Committee members, Assabet Valley School Committee member. It is further ordered that the polling place legally designated by the City Council be open at 7 o'clock in the forenoon and be closed at 8 o'clock in the evening. The City Clerk being is hereby authorized to cause notice to be given of publication of this order in a local newspaper and by posting a copy of the same in a conspicuous place in the City Clerk's office.
Councilor Assing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, motion to accept and place on file and remind people to vote.
Motion to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor.
Real quickly, I just want to also thank the clerk as well as WMCT-TV. They got a nice little stroller now on the channel that talks about the date of the election, absentee ballots, so forth. So that was a nice opportunity to offer to our voters. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Any other discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 11.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding a favorable recommendation and recommendation for clarifying language on the proposed zoning amendment relative to the definitions of home office, home occupation, Chapter 650, Section 5, Order Number 19-100-7756.
Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to refer this to Urban Affairs. We'll take this up and hopefully finish it tomorrow.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to refer to Urban Affairs. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? It is approved. 12.
Application for a fuel storage license of One Energy, Inc. for underground storage of 24,000 gallons of gasoline and 4,000 gallons of diesel fuel at 121 Bolton Street, identified as map 57, parcel 289.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please refer to Public Service Committee and also set a date for a public hearing.
Okay, a motion is made to send to Public Services for a, and set a date for a public hearing for November 18th and to advertise.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. 13.
An application for a special permit from attorney Brian Falk on behalf of Marlborough Hospital and UMass Memorial Realty, Inc. to add a new women's imaging center and seeking a finding to alter a pre-existing non-conforming use and alter the pre-existing non-conforming lot coverage from 48.2% to 49.2% at 157 and 209 Union Street.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. You will note my name as an abutter. I'm going to be recusing myself from tonight and any further discussion.
Okay. Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. What a wonderful, wonderful thing to come to our community. I'm just thrilled by that. And with that, I'll move to set the date of the public hearing for November 18th, advertise and refer to Urban Affairs.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to set a date for public hearing for November 18th, refer to Urban Affairs, and to advertise. And also note that Councilor Roby has been recused. All in favor? 10 yea, it is approved. 14.
Communication from Massachusetts Electric Company and Nantucket Electric Company, DBA National Grid, regarding petition for approval of their 2016 to 2018 Energy Efficiency 3-year term report.
Council Ossing.
President, thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept, place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? It is approved. 15.
Communication from N-Star Gas Company, DBA Eversource Energy, regarding petition for approval of its 2016 to 2018 Energy Efficient 3-year term report.
Council Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. 16.
Minutes, Council on Aging, September 10th, 2019.
Council Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file agenda item number 16, the minutes of the Council on Aging, September 10th, 2019. Agenda item number 17, the minutes of the Fort Meadow Commission, September 20th, 2018, May 16th, 2019, June 20th, 2019, July 18th, 2019, and August 15th, 2019. The minutes from the OPEB Trust, agenda item number 18, minutes of the OPEB trustees, September 25th, 2019, and October 4th, 2019. Agenda item number 19, the minutes of the Park and Recreation Commission, January 16th, 2019, March 13th, 2019, April 10th, 2019, and June 5th, 2019. And agenda item number 20, the minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals, September 17th, 2019.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file agenda items 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? All in favor? It is approved. 21.
Claims.
Councilor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to legal.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to legal. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Reports. Let's see, where will we start first? We'll do the legislative and legal first. We'll do the ones with, you have requests for 2 suspensions tonight. We'll do these first.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Legislative and Legal Affairs Committee met on Wednesday, October 16th, and we took up 2 items. Our first agenda item was order number 19-100-7792, a communication from City Solicitor Grossfield regarding proposed acceptance of utility easement 34 St. Martin Drive. So we had Mr. DePercio, the city engineer, with us, and he explained why we need to have this. It's to finish work on D'Angelo Drive, and they finally made an agreement with the property owner on St. Martin Drive. Councilor Delano moved to approve the order for a grant of utility easement with Marlborough Technology Partners, LLC, for land located at 34 St. Martin Drive. Motion was seconded and carried, and we're asking for a suspension to have this voted on this evening so that they can get construction while it's still constructing time. Our second item was order number 19-100-7807. Again, a communication from City Solicitor Grossfield regarding acceptance of open space parcel, Goodale Estates subdivisions, open space development special permit. The solicitor's September 25th, 2019 letter was read into the record. Mr. DePercio explained that the planning board included a condition in their special permit that the developer would convey no less than 5.2 acres of land as open space and would pay to the city $5,000 for a conservation maintenance fund to support its maintenance. Councilor Delano moved to approve the order accepting that land and shown as open space on the plans, and it places the property under the jurisdiction of Marlborough Conservation Commission to manage and control for the purpose of promotion and development of natural resources, watershed protection, passive recreation, conservation, and accepts the $5,000 to be placed in the Conservation Maintenance Fund. The motion was seconded and approved 3-0, and that one can lie on the table.
Okay, so there's a request for a suspension of the rules to deal with order number 19-100-77921, which is for the proposed acceptance of a utility easement at 34 Martin Drive. All in favor of suspending the rules to take up this evening? 11 yea, that is approved. Now we have the
Order number 19-100-7792, a communication from City Solicitor Grossfield regarding the proposed acceptance of utility easement at 34 St. Martin Drive, and the recommendation of the Legal and Legislative Affairs Committee is to approve.
Councilor Roby.
As stated, move the recommendation of legislative and legal.
Motion is made and seconded to approve. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. Let's do public services next.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Service Committee met on October 16th, and we took up one item, order number 191007758. In reality, it was actually a chemistry lesson. What Ambrose Company is hoping to do is to expand their capacity for fuel that they're using to make batteries. So what they're really going is from a liquid chemical to a more solid, which has the same coating. So in conjunction with our deputy fire chief, and he communicated with us that he's worked with them, so has the building inspector, commissioner. So with the okay from both of those gentlemen, the committee did vote 3-0 to let them increase their capacity in going from solid fuel to from liquid to solid. So on a motion by Councilor Doucette, second by Irish, it was approved 3-0. Mr. President, we also requested at that meeting that we have a suspension, or we could act on it tonight. The company would like to get moving on this, and in that way there, I am requesting that we ask for a suspension, vote on it.
Okay, so there's a request for suspension of the rules for order number 19-100-7758. This is an application for fuel storage license, Ambry, at 53 Brigham Street. This is for the suspension. All in favor of the suspension? That is approved.
Order number 19-100-7758, application for a flammable solids storage license, actually, by Ambry Inc. at 53 Brigham Street. The recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve.
Councilor Landers.
Mr. President, motion to approve.
Motion to approve is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I was actually doing some research on Ambry long before they came up with this permit. These guys are trying to basically developing energy storage for utility grade. So, you know, in front of wind turbine farms and stuff like that, you basically get, you know, battery systems that are the size of tractor trailers. And that's what these guys are developing in a way that's much more cost effective than, let's say, what Tesla's doing with lithium ion. So I wish these guys the best, and it's a demonstration how advanced technology is still around in Marlborough. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Okay, let's see. Personnel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Personnel Committee met on October 16th, discussed a few items. So I just want to thank all the councilors who were here as well. We had a good crowd, which doesn't happen too often, but it was nice to see. So order number 19-100-7803, communication from the mayor regarding reappointments of Brenda Costa, Rose Marie Elwood, Jean McGeough, Leslie Bigger, and Patricia Gallier to the Council on Aging Board for a term of 3 years from date of confirmation. Motion made by Council Iris, second by Council Landers to approve, and it was approved 3-0.
Next one?
Yep, I'm just make sure I didn't miss anything. We're good. Order number 19, what is it, Patriots game on or something? You got it, Kelly?
Wait.
Number 19,
Put it up on the big screen.
19-100-7790, communication from the mayor regarding reappointments of Pamela Wilderman to the Historical Commission for a 3-year term from date of confirmation. And also we took up on the same order number 19-100-7804, communication from the mayor regarding appointment of Nicholas Evans to the Historical Commission for a 3-year term from date of confirmation. Motion made by Council Iris, second by the Council Landers, and we approved it 3-0.
Thank you.
And one more.
One more.
You got time?
Wayne Grant.
Okay.
Wayne
Order
Stanley.
19-100-7805, communication from the mayor regarding appointment of Wayne E. Stanley Sr. to the Commission of Disabilities for a 2-year term from date of confirmation. And we withdrew Ann Ryan for reappointment. So motion was made by Council Landers, second by the chair, to approve the appointment, and it passed 3-0. And let's see. We have one more.
One more. John
Sorry.
Welch.
19-100-7778, communication from the mayor regarding the appointment of John Welch Jr. to the Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term from date of confirmation. Council Landers made the motion, seconded by the chair, and it approved 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Urban Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. Urban Affairs met and took up 3 orders. Order number 19-100-7791, which we've already passed this evening, which was the electronic signage with LED pump toppers and videographic array screens at the gas stations. So that's more or less a moot point. However, if I can, through you to Councilor Tenera, if he needs to call me from the gas station because he can't get his sports scores, you can call me, I'll update you, and as well as the daily specials on coffee, hot dogs, and antifreeze. We already mentioned, the committee passed that 4-1. We also took up order number 19-100-7673B, proposed zoning petition from Councilor Delano, as requested by Commissioner Cook, and Solicitor Grossfeld, amending Chapter 650-12, non-conforming uses. Essentially, we put this in coordination with the Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Chapter C. And we, in our current code, talk about uses, non-conforming uses. And we also add non-conforming structures that after a certain period of time, they lose their designation. That was approved, moved by Councilor Doucette and approved by the committee, 5-0. We also took up order number 19-100-7757, application for special permit from Nicholas Masso on behalf of Indo Laboratories to operate a marijuana testing laboratory at 257 Cimarano Drive. Fairly straightforward. This is really a testing lab. We had a few questions and wanted to make sure that we got in writing from the fire chief that everything was as it should be, and we wanted to make sure that the written security plan was approved in writing by the police chief. We also wanted to clarify that we talked about samples being destroyed, or the process they go through actually destroys the marijuana for usage, but somebody came up with a good question about what about the leftover product? How does that get destroyed? And so we had them change that in the conditions that surplus product would be immediately destroyed as well, so it wasn't left out there. And the last was simply that the decision needed to be recorded. Motion was made by Councilor Jouer to approve, and that was approved 5-0.
Any other reports of committees? Any other reports of committees? Moving on, 22.
Order number 19-100-7772, the Marlborough Police Chief David Georgie discussed the city contract with Critic Control and the department's policy and operating procedures for animal control. Motion was made and seconded to accept and place this order on file.
Councilor Jouer.
Thank you, Mr. President. We met with as the order stated, with the police chief and Charlie Bolmadas of Critic Control. It was a discussion on the operating procedures of the Critic Control. There is no action needed by this council, so I make a motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and second to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That is approved.
Mr. President, my apologies. I overlooked something in our report for Indo Labs. The committee did request for a suspension of the rules to have that sent to the solicitor for the purpose of putting it in proper legal form and putting that on our next agenda.
Okay, so we'll be backing this up a little bit. So this is going to be a request for a suspension of the rules for order number 19-100-7757. This is for the Indo Labs at 257 Cimarano Drive to refer to the city solicitor to be placed in proper legal form. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? That is approved. Now,
Move to refer to legal to be put in proper legal form.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to legal to be placed in proper legal form. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. Okay, 23.
Order number 19-100-7789, a communication from the mayor regarding the reappointment of Elizabeth Evangelos to the Board of Registrars for a term of 3 years to expire on April 1st, 2022. It's the recommendation of the Personnel Committee to approve the reappointment of Elizabeth Evangelos.
Councilor Tenera.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. 24.
Order number 19-100-7777, communication from the mayor regarding reappointments to the Commission on Disabilities of Deborah McManus, Ann Ryan, and Laura Kyle for 3-year terms from date of confirmation, in addition to John Eustace and Cheryl Susi for 2-year terms from date of confirmation. And the motion was made, recommendation of the Personnel Committee is to approve the reappointments of Deborah McManus and Laura Kyle for 3-year terms, and for John Eustace and Cheryl Susi for 2-year terms from the date of confirmation.
Councilor Tenera.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? It is approved. 25.
Order number 19-100-7739A, a petition for Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England to install a new pole 8-5 at 150 Hayes Memorial Drive to service a new customer. It's a recommendation of the Public Services Committee to approve with the condition that the new pole should not be located within the city sewer easement, and the pole location should be marked out for approval by the city engineer prior to the start of work.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? All in favor? It is approved. 26.
Order number 19-100-7703, an application for special permit from Attorney Brian Blazer on behalf of Cameron General Contractors to construct a senior independent living multifamily community pursuant to the provisions of the Retirement Community Multifamily Overlay District at 90 Crowley Drive. It is the recommendation of the Urban Affairs Committee to approve the special permit as amended.
Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, this was quite a long process. I think it was originally met with some lukewarm response, to be generous. But over time, the project got better and better and better, and the council decided to change the zoning, and the committee decided to grant the special permit. We made major changes, first of all, to the driveway. Nobody liked the way it was going in and out, or the flow, and they made changes. The overflow parking problem was resolved. They resolved to add sidewalks where needed, access to the Panther Trail. There'll be traffic control signs, speed boards essentially on Pleasant Street or Lower Pleasant Street there. The Crowley Drive will have an island and pavement markings to make that easier to go in and out and separate traffic. And they will be giving the city $1 million, which will be up to the council in the future, but I hope it goes to the new fire station. Mr. President, would you ask the city clerk to read the conditions?
The City Council, pursuant to its authority under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, and the zoning ordinance of the City of Marlborough, hereby grants the applicant a special permit to construct a senior independent living multifamily development, also known as a retirement community multifamily, as shown in the plans filed, subject to the following conditions, which conditions shall be binding on the applicant, its successors, and/or assigns. 1, construction in accordance with applicable laws. Construction of all structures on the site is to be in accordance with all applicable laws, codes, and regulations, including, without limitation, building code and zoning ordinance in effect in the City of Marlborough and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and shall be built in compliance with this special permit and according to the plans as may be amended during the site plan review pursuant to paragraph N3. 2, compliance with applicable laws. The applicant, its successors, and/or assigns agrees to comply with all municipal, state, and federal regulations, rules, regulations, and ordinances as they may apply to the construction, maintenance, and operation of the project. 3, site plan review. The issuance of this special permit is further subject to final site plan review in accordance with the City of Marlborough zoning ordinance prior to the issuance of the building permit. Any additional changes, alterations, modifications, or amendments as required during the process of final site plan review shall be further conditions of this special permit and conditions attached to the building permit, and no occupancy permit shall be issued till the applicant has complied with all the conditions. Final site plan review shall be consistent with the conditions of this special permit and the plan submitted, reviewed, and approved by the City Council as the special permit granting authority. 4, modification of plans. Notwithstanding condition 1 and 3 above, the City Council or the Site Plan Review Committee may make engineering changes to the plan so long as said changes do not change the use of the project as approved herein or materially increase the impervious area of the project, reduce the green area, alter traffic flow, increase the size shape, or position of the building, or alter the landscaping bordering the property as shown in the plans. 5, incorporation of submissions. All plans, photo renderings, site evaluations, briefs, and other documentation provided by the applicant as part of this application and as amended or revised during the application hearing process before the City Council and/or the City Council's Urban Affairs Committee are herein incorporated into and become part of this special permit and become conditions and requirements of the same, except as otherwise altered by the City Council. The attached addendum provides a list of the pertinent submittal documentation. 6, trail construction and grant of easement. As shown in the plans, the applicant shall construct and maintain a walking trail from Pleasant Street up to the sidewalk along Crowley Drive. This trail shall be a woods trail that is level horizontally and shall be 5 feet wide. The exact location and final surfaces shall be determined and finalized during the final site plan review process. A trail easement shall be granted by the applicant to the City of Marlborough to allow the public to pass and repass over the trail in a form satisfactory to the city. This trail easement document shall be finalized and submitted to the City Council for approval prior to the issuance of a building permit. 7, landscaping buffers. The landscaping between the project and the 2 adjacent businesses and industrial uses shall be thick enough to provide a buffer and screening for the lighting and noise between these uses. The Site Plan Review Committee shall review the landscaping to ensure these functions are being met and may require adjustments to the plan if needed. 8, driveway entrance and signage. The driveway entrance and signage as shown on the plan shall be followed. The driveway access to the project shall be primary access. The driveway shall serve as an emergency access only to 92 Crowley Drive. Applicant shall obtain and prepare appropriate easement documents to implement this condition and shall be recorded with the Middlesex Registry of Deeds following approval by the city engineer and city solicitor. Said easement documents shall be recorded prior to the issuance of building permit. 9, sidewalk connections. There shall be a pedestrian access from the project by means of a sidewalk and shall connect to the sidewalk required pursuant to the approved site plan for 92 Crowley Drive. Said connection shall be made prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Also see addendum item 15. 10, prior to first occupancy permit. Prior to the issuance of the first occupancy permit, all items required as part of the special permit and site plan review must be completed. No partial certificate of occupancy shall be issued. 11, landscaping surety. Following 18 months from the final sign-off for the site work, any plant material that has died or is dying shall be replaced with a species of the same kind and size. A surety in the amount of 10% of the value of the site landscaping, including labor and materials, shall be presented to the building commissioner as a guarantee that any dead or dying plant material will be replaced within 18 months of the final sign-off. The bond will be released once the applicant certifies to the conservation officer that all dead and dying plant material have been replaced. 12, emergency access. As shown in the plans, an emergency access with a Knox box for emergency access is to be located at the northeast corner of the site with an exit onto the 100 Crowley Drive property. Applicant shall obtain and prepare appropriate easement documents to implement this condition and shall be recorded with the Middlesex Registry of Deeds following the approval of the city engineer and city solicitor. Said easement document shall be recorded prior to the issuance of a building permit. 13, speed feedback signs on Fitchburg Street. Applicant shall implement two radar speed feedback signs along Fitchburg Street, subject to the approval by MassDOT District 3 as shown conceptually on the plans. Such signs shall conform to the applicable MassDOT requirements and shall be placed at such locations that correspond to the 25-mile-per-hour regulatory speed zone along Fitchburg Street, along 300 feet prior to Crowley Drive in the southbound travel direction and 240 feet prior to Crowley Drive in the northbound travel direction. The applicant shall also remove, relocate, or replace existing warning and/or regulatory signs within Fitchburg Street as required to accommodate the radar speed feedback signs and to meet applicable manual on uniform traffic controls requirements subject to the MassDOT District 3 review and approval. 14, Crowley Drive pavement marking sign and island improvements. Applicant shall implement pavement marking sign and traffic rumble strip improvements within the private portion of Crowley Drive as shown conceptually on the plans. This shall include a flush scored concrete island separating eastbound and westbound travel lanes that extends from the location of the stop line on Crowley Drive a distance of approximately 200 feet with a variable width ranging from 8 feet to 2 feet. Associated single yellow edge lines shall outline the flush scored concrete rumble strip along with single white edge lines along the northerly curb side of Crowley Drive to provide an 18-foot wide westbound travel lane. A 25-mile-per-hour speed advisory sign shall also be placed alongside the westbound travel lane approximately 160 feet from Fitchburg Street. 15, access to overflow parking. In order to ensure that there is adequate visitor parking for the project on weekends and holidays if necessary, applicant shall arrange with the owner of 100 Crowley Drive for the use of 12 parking spaces for visitor-only overflow parking as shown in the approved plans. A pathway from the project to the area of the overflow parking shall be provided as shown in the plans. 16, fee in lieu of payment. Pursuant to Section 650, Section 26A1A of the zoning ordinance, applicant shall deposit in the city's public safety capital Capital Stabilization Fund a fee in lieu calculated as 15% of 130 units at $50,000 per unit for a total amount of $1 million. Said deposit shall be made prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Job fair. The applicant shall conduct the job fair for the project for the Marlborough residents in coordination with the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation and/or the Chamber of Commerce. 18, recording of decision. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 11, applicant, its successors, and/or assigns at his expense shall record the special permit in the Middlesex Registry of Deeds after the city clerk has certified that the 20-day period for appealing the special permit has elapsed, with no appeal having been filed, and before the applicant has applied to the building commissioner for a building permit. Upon recording, applicant shall forthwith provide a copy of the recorded special permit to the city council office, the building department, and the city solicitor's office.
It's amazing how he does it without even taking a breath. Okay, Steve, you can breathe now. Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, compliments to the city clerk. I hope our Patriots have as good a night as he did tonight. Mr. President, a lot of things do need to go around. Our site plan review committee was tenacious on this. They did a great job, very professional as always, and made this project much better. I'd like to thank a lot of councilors, not only the committee, but other councilors had a lot of very positive input, made this a much better project, and I thank you all for that. With that, Mr. President, I move the recommendation of the committee, which is to approve.
Motion is made and seconded to approve. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Don't panic. I'm going to vote in support of the project, but I do want to bring up my surprise, sort of, on number 16, which was in the final decision, only because I was not able to go to the last meeting of Urban Affairs, so I didn't realize that it was going to be there. And I guess it's sort of become an epiphany of my own lately that affordable housing is an issue in the city for many people. And I guess I am realizing that the council's ability, when we change the code to allow developers to buy out up to 15% at a meager $50,000 a unit, was a mistake. And I will warn that if reelected, that will be something that I will be pursuing, changing in the future. But for now, I guess my comments will be, I believe the language says that the money goes to a fire safety or public safety, and that it would be payable on the first occupancy permits, which I'm guessing is probably not going to be for another 1.5 to 2 years. So we won't have to deal with that. It will take 8 votes to move the money. Mine, if I'm here, will not be one of those votes. So I just wanted to put that out there tonight. Thank you.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, it goes without saying the amount of work Chairman Delano has done with this project, as well as the input and hard work of the council. Coming into this project, I had 3 criteria issues to address that Chairman Delano has, and the applicant as well, with the landscape, traffic relief, as well as the overflow parking. And I think those are things that will certainly make this project move a little bit smoother going forward. So I will be I will approve the special permit. Thank you, Mr.
Any other
President.
discussion on the motion? Any other discussion? Okay, please read the roll.
Councilor Dumas.
Yes.
Councilor Roby.
Yes.
Councilor Delano.
Yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Yes.
Councilor Clancy.
Yes.
Councilor Orem.
Yes.
Councilor Irish.
Yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Yay!
Councilor Doucette.
Yes.
Councilor Landers.
Yes.
Councilor Jouer.
Yes.
11 yea.
11 yea, it is approved. At long last. Councilor Ossing.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn is made and seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
We are adjourned.